Welcome to Holistic Human Performance Podcast. My name is Gena Bradshaw, where we talk all things holistic health, wellness, spirituality, fitness, meditation, energetics, and so much more to help you become the healthiest version of yourself. Let's dive in. This is not medical advice. This is simply to help you on your journey through health, fitness, and wellness. I hope this helps. You can complement this with anything that you are doing currently in your life. Enjoy. Hey guys, Gena here, and I am so excited to announce that the Holistic Human Performance Virtual Wellness Center is officially launched. Yep, that's right. We've officially launched. And this is like having a holistic health and energy coach in your back pocket. If you need a 5-minute reset, okay, great. What do we have? You need breath work. Okay, great. You need a little bit of mobility flow, nutrition coaching. Great. You can access all of these on-demand videos and self-paced digital courses for a 5-day free trial. That's right. I'm giving this to you guys for a 5-day free trial so you can try it out, see if you like it, see if it works for you, and see if it actually is conducive to your lifestyle and it helps you to create change. It is literally like having me in your back pocket. So again, I'm giving you this for a 5-day free trial. Head on over to holistichumanperformance.co and get your free trial today. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Holistic Human Performance Podcast. I'm your host, Gena Bradshaw, and today we have a very special guest. We have Alex Pursglove with us today. I need to share how we met because it is so serendipitous and just divine. We met, we both have gotten into public speaking, and so we were invited by two different people to come give speeches about health and our stories and our impact and what we do for this event. It was called Speak Health Event. And our stories are very similar, and I'm not going to give away anything. I'm going to let her, share her story, but we had so much in common. We literally just connected on such a level. And I laugh because I say this all the time. And I took one of Alex's workshops that she recently gave. And she goes, I am not a small talk person. I'm a big talk person. And I laughed to myself because that is so true. And that's absolutely how I feel. And anyone that knows me will absolutely agree with that statement. And so we just hit it off, and I obviously had to have her on to share her story because it is so impactful what she does. She's a business and transformation coach, and she really melds the worlds of that logical, framework of how to operate a business, but really from a soulful perspective and really guiding your decisions and transformations through your intuition, which I love, obviously. So without further ado, Alex, welcome.
Thank you so much, Gena. I am just so upbeat right now. Your energy is just uplifting, and it's infectious how excited you are. And I felt that when we connected at Speak, and I was excited when I heard your story. It's inspiring and impactful, and you just have this embracing life kind of energy that I was so drawn to. So I'm thrilled. Yeah, absolutely. I feel it every time we connect. So I am really pumped for our conversation today.
Same. We're going big talk, guys, today, as usual, obviously. So Alex, why don't you introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what you do, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to borrow this from a good friend of mine who shared this on my podcast, and I loved it because I think, at the beginning of podcasts, we're always sharing our origin story, and I'm sure we'll get into that as we talk today. But for the first introduction, I'm going to share just a couple of fun facts.
Yeah.
Away with it so that your audience can get to know me a little bit. So my name is Alex Pursglove, and I'm a business and transformation coach. And yes, I help women with becoming fully expressed and breaking through limitations in order to not just elevate business growth, but to really do so from a place of more joy and passion and ecstasy along the way. So that's what I'm all about on the business side. But in terms of who I am, with some fun facts, I am a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt. So I love training with my husband, Adam, who is my dearest friend in the world. And so he got me into jiu-jitsu. So I actually love rolling and wrestling with other people.
AKA total badass. Anyways.
Well, give me a few more belts. I'm still just a blue belt, so maybe I'll reach badass status when I get to purple or brown. But yeah, on my way. So there's that. Then I also have a unnecessary amount of knowledge about the TV show Friends. I've won more trivia contests than I like to admit. So if you name an episode, I can probably quote about half of it for you. So that's something I was super into in college in my early 20s. And then I also was a stunt double once in my life. When I worked out in film in LA, I got to jump out of an 18-foot high window into some cardboard boxes. And that
I didn't know that.
Most people don't. And so I like to throw it out sometimes because it was honestly one of the most fun days of my entire life, was getting to be a stunt double on an NBC TV show when I was 23.
That's amazing.
There's some fun facts.
I love that. So good. Well, I mean, that shares a lot about your personality. You know, you're out there, you're ready to just like give it your all, and things that actually light you up, and like this, you have like this playful energy about you that I love. That's something that I'm tapping into more as of late. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Let's go into what you're currently doing, and then go into your origin story, because it's really inspiring.
Thank you, Gena. Well, I'm really glad you just brought up the word playfulness, and that makes me really happy to hear you're feeling that, because that has been a really solid intention of mine over the last year or two. And this ties into what I do in my story, because for a long time I was really stuck in grinding, striving to achieve, very unhealthy masculine forcing energy for a lot of my life, really. And so I, on one side, love to have fun and embrace adventure and new things. And I've always been a person who likes to pursue what lights me up. I've always been a big dreamer. When I was little, I was begging my mom to take me to Broadway so I could audition. I was writing out to agents in LA. I wanted to be an actress. I was writing Academy Award acceptance speeches and practicing them when I was like 10 years old. So I always was visionary and had big dreams and loved to embrace them. And on the other side, I also had a lot of fear, a lot of worry and people pleasing. I was very much taught to be the good girl growing up, make sure you don't upset people, follow the rules, don't be wrong. And so I also developed some pretty significant imposter syndrome and a harsh inner critic, and not in the sense of not in the sense of being really mean to myself and how I talked to me, but it was more always feeling like what I did wasn't enough yet, but you could have done better, but you could be doing more. And so that really created a lot of grinding and forcing energy in how I was going throughout life, and then eventually how I was building my business. And so today I've learned that when you can release that unhealthy masculine, when you can release those fears and those doubts and the places that our subconscious can really attach to our core wounds, essentially, and keep us stuck, the more and more you can release that and embrace honoring your humanity while embracing the spiritual divine side of you that is connected to love and potential and creativity and possibility. And the more you can live in, for me, your feminine, or for women, the more you can embrace that divine feminine side, your intuition, and live from your heart, the more you're going to create the playfulness and the passion and the joy along the way, instead of just waiting for some destination to give it to you. And so I learned that throughout my own experience, and that's now informed what I do today, which is helping women step into their full expression, their most authentic selves, and to really cultivate that duality of full self-acceptance of your humanity while also really embracing your greatness, your uniqueness, your beauty, your sexiness, your passion, your the places that really make you come alive and make you who you are. And so that's what I really love to do, is helping women embrace that full expression, which creates quantum leaps forward in results with more joy along the way.
Love that. And just the more people that I work with, the more, and, you know, because I know you work specifically with women, especially with women, I have seen, just like with the whole hustle culture and the way that we're brought up, it's, you know, steered us away from being connected to that feminine energy that we all innately have. We all have that masculine energy. We all have the feminine energy. It is just energy. And that it is what it is. And it's a matter of being able to, and this took me a while to understand and comprehend, the dance between the two, right? So as I'm hosting this podcast, I'm in my masculine energy just because I'm holding the space. However, I'm having fun with it. I'm having friends on, like, it's a fun time. So I'm also tapped into my feminine energy and genuinely love this shit. So it's a matter of being able to you know, really, like you said, connect back to the feminine side. We've been brainwashed to just like kind of neglect that. Now, my question for you is, what was that wake up moment for you? What was that? I got to change. I got to make some change. I don't know what the change is, but I got to do something about it.
Yeah. So I've had two really significant moments of change in my life. And the first one, you know, from my Speak Talk, which is when I was 24 years old and very unhappy working in the film industry at the time, feeling unfulfilled, not even scratching the surface of my potential. Also was in a toxic, abusive relationship that really put my self-esteem at an all-time low. And so I'm in this space, and then I receive a phone call from a nurse in my doctor's office with results from a scan they had done for a mass in my pancreas. And the nurse tells me it's a solid pseudopapillary tumor with cancerous tissue. And the moment I heard those words, cancerous tissue, it completely rocked me. And I would say that's what everything started shifting. I went home that night, fell to my knees on my bathroom floor, just sobbing. I had no one else there with me. And really, I think I was so overcome with fear that I had nothing left to do but to just surrender and to receive from God, to receive from the divine, to get clarity from spirit. And on the bathroom floor that night, I realized that I wanted to use this to change my life. I knew that experiencing so much more love and significance in my life, while also wanting to make so much more of a difference, is what mattered most to me. And so I didn't care about some of the goals I've been pursuing. I didn't care about the validation that I received from being with my boyfriend, who was a pretty successful, wealthy entrepreneur, well-known. And none of that mattered to me. I knew I just wanted to connect to divine love. I wanted to be more connected to God, more connected to myself. And so I made this commitment that I was going to learn how to unapologetically express who I really am. And I was going to learn how to live in divine love. And so that started this, what has now become a 12-year quest to learning how to live my most fully expressed life. And so that definitely was the initial spark that shifted everything. But I would say also back in the very beginning of 2020 or end of 2019, I reached this second point of knowing that I really wanted a significant shift in my life, because I was pursuing the things that were lighting me up. I was reaching more of my potential. I was back in Pittsburgh living with family and making more connections, but I still knew that I wasn't expressing myself. I was still in people pleasing. I was still stifling what I knew I was really capable of. Like I was playing bigger, but I wasn't playing as big as I knew I could. And so I reached this point of saying, okay, I'm tired of the grind. I'm tired of just continuing to strive and just working harder, because I'm still not really lit up inside. And so it was then that I made a decision to invest at a pretty high level, working with some amazing mentors. And I got rid of an event planning business I had at that time, went all in for my coaching and said, that's it. I'm putting my stake in the ground for my full expression. And so it's been over the last 4 years that I've done this really deep dive into learning how to actually tap into my divine intuition and learning how powerful my own full expression actually is.
I'm sure a lot of people can resonate with that. I can also think back at several moments in my life and be like, oh yeah, those were the breakthrough moments. That was like to wake me up, and it's like, hey, you're not on the path that you're supposed to be on. So let's get to it. So let's go back to when you were 24 years old. Now, once you found out that rocked your world, what was the first thing that you did? What was like that action that you took to create change, to just, really shift the trajectory of what you wanted to, what you desired to do in life?
Well, to be honest, Gena, it really took a couple months before I made some significant changes because I had to have this surgery. And so I was basically in survival mode. I found out that I had this tumor. Also at the time, I had just lost my health insurance. And so I'm looking at a $200,000 surgery at 24 years old. And really, I went into just problem solving mode. Ended up my mom was pretty amazing and did some research, and we worked together and ended up getting me into a clinical research trial at the National Institute of Health, which covered all of my costs other than some diagnostic testing. So that was really amazing. But really, I had to go and have the surgery, and it was a long recovery period. So I would say the first significant shift, it wasn't so much what I did externally because I was just focused on my healing. But what I did shift was I started opening myself up to receiving guidance from God again, to receiving guidance from higher power. I had been so focused, just, I don't want to say internally, but I'd been so focused on my own little bubble because I was in this difficult relationship and really just in survival mode. So it was really opening myself up to receiving guidance and support, and to really starting to practice more trust. I started believing that I was going to find a solution to the tumor and to not having healthcare. And I just took action with that kind of faith. And I think it was sort of unconscious, but I look back now and see that was the first shift I made. And let's start practicing trust in the unknown, trust that I'm being supported by the universe. And that was deeply significant because it got me ready for the changes I made. Then 4 to 6 months later, once I recovered from my surgery, then I started finally taking aligned action. It was like, this is something I actually teach and share with people, is that to shift patterns, to make significant changes, it always starts with awareness. So raising awareness of the pattern, that happened the night I got the diagnosis. Then acceptance of the pattern and allowing yourself to express whatever emotions are actually coming up for you. And I did. I let myself just honor the sadness, the frustration, the anger, the wave of emotions that came. And really just practiced acceptance for myself, because I think that night on the bathroom floor, I shifted into seeing myself with real compassion and real tenderness, and just saying, yeah, you're down right now and you're in a difficult spot, and it's okay. All of you is welcome here. And so by practicing that awareness and then the acceptance, the third piece is then to apply aligned action. So it was about 4 to 6 months later that I left my relationship. I left the city I was living in at the time, left the film industry. I mean, I made this huge, just letting go of everything that wasn't serving me. Universal law of sacrifice. I let go of what was down here to make space for more. So I moved back to Pittsburgh near my family. I ended up getting a job in nonprofit for a few years and opened myself up to seeking what actually was lighting me up, because the film industry wasn't doing it, other than my date was stunt double. So other than that, the film industry wasn't doing it. So the action was to pursue what my true desires actually were, not what I thought they should be.
That's like very important. And I really hope you as the listener are like rewind and listen to that again, because a lot of us are taught, especially like hustle culture, warrior mode, just go, 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 to not give yourself grace and just feel the feels. And when you're at a low point, it's like, okay, yes, but you can always make change. You can always shift the trajectory. And it's, a matter of obviously taking those aligned actions and steps. Everybody's different. So thank you for sharing that, because I know that would resonate with at least one person that's listening. I think that's really important. It's a gem of advice for those who are going through a really low point in life, even if you have to get surgery or you're going through grief. It's what are you going to do to make that shift? You give yourself grace, you allow this energy to move through you. Emotion is energy in motion. So we have to allow this, to move through us. So if you have to cry for a full day, you cry for a full day. If you need to scream, you scream. Get involved in different activities maybe that can get your anger and frustration out, like jujitsu.
That's a good one for getting anger out, for sure.
Right. So yeah, that I think is super important. Now, talk to us about today. How did you take those like lessons and integrate it into your business and what you're doing today and helping other women on their path?
Well, I'm really glad that a little bit ago you talked about how we all have the masculine and the feminine in us. And that's why I say unhealthy masculine when I talk about the grinding and the forcing, because there's a lot of healthy masculine too that supports us in business.
Right.
And I was thrilled that you brought that in and clarified that. And that ties into what I do today, because like I said earlier, my number one desire for my clients and for whoever I connect with is for them to become fully expressed. And to be fully expressed, it means honoring all aspects of you, your masculine and your feminine, and honoring your humanity. You said letting yourself cry, letting yourself move the emotion through. So much of what keeps us stuck in fear or doubt or guilt is just fighting with the actual emotion. And so allowing it allows you to move through it. What you resist persists, what you look at, you release. So honoring that humanity, while also, this is the really fun part, is then cultivating that relationship with your connection to your highest self. And so letting yourself really cultivate radical trust in you, in God, and your highest self, and how your intuition is guiding you. So helping women really shift into creating from their heart instead of their head. And then helping you really tap into your true desires, what's really lighting you up inside, not based on what anyone else thinks or whatever shoulds are in your mind, but you really getting clear on what actually is lighting me up, accessing your turn on, your desires, your passion, your sacred sensuality, so that you are aligned with what you're doing, that you're aligned with your purpose and your gifts and your unique callings. And so with this, I'd say that what's most impactful from helping people step into that full expression and all of that trust and acceptance, that is what creates not only accelerating in business, but helping you be one of one instead of one of many. So this is what I believe we're all meant to do, is to find our most unique, greatest radiant light that we can shine. And then when you do that, you're going to call in the people that you're most aligned to help. You're going to repel away the people who don't want what you have to give and aren't for you. And you're going to stand out as one of one for your people. And when you do that, that's when you can actually be in highest service, is when you're in your full expression, when you're standing in your absolute radical self-acceptance and worthiness. And then you're drawing in the people who are ready for that as well, and who are ready for what you have to give. And so this is where I see the shift for so many women. It's like I work with a lot of successful women. I had created a lot of success before I learned how to become fully expressed. I was running a multi-six-figure business. I had team members and systems. And I work with a lot of women who have created this success as well. We're talking about going deeper than success. We're talking about how there's so much more abundance and prosperity and generosity and joy and passion and ecstasy when you're really going now into that next level of your most authentic self-expression.
Juicy. It's
Oh,
true
that's
though,
right.
because we've been programmed to forget that side. Like we've been programmed to be stressed out, live in fear, live in like this emotionless state of, not feeling the bad feelings, or not even the lower vibration emotions. It's a matter of like, are you stuck there, and what is holding you back? And once you acknowledge that, you find the help you need and whatever support you need, and you start to integrate. So, Alex, what are some things you like to do with your clients, your students? How do you help them integrate these, these types of habits, or whatever you want to call them? I know you don't like the word goals, but you know what I mean.
It's interesting because I still use the word goals a lot. I've caught that or noticed that as I've been saying more publicly that I don't love the term goals, and then I still use it, but I think it's more around the attachment to the goal, that attachment to the outcome, or being so destination focused. So with your question of how do I work with women, or what are some of the ways that I support my clients, there's always starting with looking at, one, the true desire and what's actually lighting you up. But to do that, we first need to look at what's blocking you from being really tapped in to your spirituality, your sensuality, your sexuality, your creativity. Where are those places where there's still those subtle layers of resistance? So it's always uncovering, where are the blocks, and uncovering those blind spots. I would say that's one of my areas of mastery, is supporting people in their blind spots. And so I would encourage the people listening on the podcast today, if you've been feeling like there's something more for you, or there's something, that you're just still feeling kind of limited in, maybe you're frustrated, stuck, or maybe it's not even frustration and stuckness. Maybe it's just, I know there's more. I know I can be going to that next level. The first place to really look at is what's going on for you internally, because your external results are always a reflection of what's happening for you on the inside. So starting with looking at those internal places and saying, where is there room to explore what I'm resisting, or where I'm not in acceptance, where I'm not practicing radical trust? Acceptance, trust, and honesty are some of the 3 core pillars that I talk to clients about, because you have to be in radical self-acceptance, trust, and being very honest about what your actual desires are, and then letting those 3 lead the way, because that's what's going to help you uncover what you actually want, what's blocking you, and where the opportunities are.
Beautiful. That's awesome. So what do you have going on your business currently? Share with us, tell us what you have, your services, how you help others, and then we will wrap it up.
Absolutely. Thanks, Gena. Well, in terms of what I have going on right now, from coming to the workshop, I'm so excited about this new group that I've launched with a good friend of mine, Hannah Chapman, who is a prosperity coach and financial advisor. And so we've collaborated to launch this group called the Expansive Visionaries Collective, which is for women who are heart-centered, who are pursuing their full expression and living in their feminine and their masculine, but are really embracing how they can create from their hearts, and who are impact driven, with big visions and serious about business, but also holistic, who want to grow in who they're being, in their personal transformation and their spiritual expression. So we've made this group to really combine those 2 worlds, business plus spirituality, because I personally believe when you put those 2 together, not believe, this is what I've seen and experienced, and know that when you put those 2 together, that's what creates the quantum leaps forward, and it's what creates feeling more alive on the path. So this is a container for us women to come together and to network together, to mastermind, and also to transform all together and to uplift one another. We want to collaborate in practice, not just lip service. And it's for women who don't love small talk and who like going deeper and forming meaningful connections with each other, where we're actually uplifting one another and helping each other grow in business. So that's one of the things I'm most excited about. That's launching in January of 2024. And then I also host retreats and do private work with women who really want to go to that deepest level of their full expression, and who really want to accelerate in business growth while feeling really good about who they are along the way.
Beautiful. Guys, Alex is no joke, okay? So go check out what she has to offer. She's incredible. Alex, where can people find you?
Well, I would love to offer to your audience today, for anyone who was interested in this conversation around full expression, as you're exploring cultivating more trust and that acceptance and tapping into your voice. If that's appealing to you, you want to go deeper, I would love to offer your audience a copy of my ebook. It's called Radical Trust, A Woman's Guide to Manifesting True Desires, Joy, and Passion.
Amazing.
I'm so excited about this ebook, Gena. It's truly one of my favorite pieces of content I've ever written, because it really does give you tangible, actionable steps for cultivating more trust so you can create from your heart over your head. That's one of my just all-time favorite things to talk about. So you can get all the details and the 4 core pillars of trust in the book. It's at alexpursglove.com/radical trust. I would love to offer that. And then also I love to connect with people on Instagram, LinkedIn. You can find me, Alex Pursglove. There are not that many of us. So if you just type in my name, find me on those platforms.
Beautiful. I will add that to the show notes, so you guys can find where Alex is and her ebook, which is so phenomenal. I can't wait to read it. So thank you so much. Are there any words of wisdom that you have for the listeners before we sign off?
That's always an interesting question.
Always.
And I'll be so transparent and fully expressed right now. I struggle sometimes with this question because there's so much. And when I talk about full expression, it's just such a vast topic. So yet I know it's coming, right? Often on podcasts. So for me, I think what I would love to leave people with today is that your full expression is where your greatest power lies. It's your most powerful asset, your intuition, because your intuition, it's always guiding you towards more expansion, solutions, creativity, and opportunity. And so prioritizing, cultivating trust in your highest self, it always knows exactly what you need. Not always what your ego wants, but it knows exactly what you need. So I would encourage everyone listening today that that's one of the most powerful places you can explore. How you spend your time is a close second with your strongest asset, but your intuition, your highest self, it's going to get you to the places that you want to go. So whatever you need to do to prioritize trusting yourself, it's one of the greatest gifts you can give to you.
Beautiful. And that is excellent to end on. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for having me, Gena. This was a lot of fun.
So much fun. What a great conversation. So if you like this episode, like, share, subscribe. If you guys have any questions that you want me to talk about on the podcast, shoot it on over. We will discuss it. Maybe I'll have you as a guest. Who knows? And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.